The mansion gleamed in a California sun, a perfect portrait of wealth, pride, and privilege. But behind its polished glass walls stood a truth far uglier than any shadow money could hide. Every morning, Evelyn Harris walked up the long marble driveway clutching her cleaning bag, her head high despite the whispers that sometimes followed. Her son, Malik, usually waited outside for his shift to end, a quiet boy with a backpack full of library books and a second-hand chessboard with missing pieces. But that day, that single, scorching afternoon, would change both their lives forever. It started as a joke. Inside, the millionaire's wife, Victoria Langston, was throwing one of her casual social luncheons, the kind where every smile had competition and every compliment was lined with condescension. When Evelyn arrived to tidy the main room, she overheard laughter drifting from the terrace. Victoria's sharp, mocking tone sliced through the air. "Oh, Evelyn, is that your little boy outside again? He looks so serious, like he's studying quantum physics or something." The women giggled. Then Victoria added, "You know what? Let's have some fun. Why don't we invite him in? I'm sure Jonathan could use an easy win. He hasn't beaten anyone at chess in months." Jonathan, Victoria's husband, a self-made millionaire tech mogul, smirked. A little chess game with the maid's kid? Why not? Might be good entertainment before dessert. The other guests laughed. Evelyn froze, clutching a duster that suddenly felt heavier than stone. Her son, Malik, had been waiting outside for her, innocent, curious, completely unaware that the world inside that mansion was about to use him as a punchline. And as Victoria walked out to invite him in, no one in that glittering room imagined that the next hour would turn their laughter into stunned silence and their pride into ashes. Evelyn Harris had never planned to work in someone else's home again, but life had a way of making choices for people like her. After her husband died in a construction accident, she was left alone with a 5-year-old boy and a mountain of hospital bills. For years, she juggled part-time jobs, waitressing, housekeeping, and cleaning offices just to keep the lights on. By the time Malik turned 10, he had already learned more about survival than most grown men. But he also had something rare, a mind that never stopped working. While Evelyn scrubbed floors, Malik devoured books. Anything he could find. Science, art, mathematics, and most of all, chess. He'd first seen it played by a retired janitor at the public library, an old man who taught him the rules and gifted him his first set. Malik learned quickly, too quickly. By 13, he was beating online players twice his age. By 14, he was solving puzzles grandmasters posted online. But genius doesn't pay rent when you're invisible. The Langstons, Jonathan and Victoria, represented everything Evelyn didn't have. Their hilltop mansion overlooked Los Angeles, a palace of glass and arrogance. She worked for them 3 days a week, cleaning rooms that could fit her entire apartment twice over. Victoria was polite on good days, dismissive on others. Jonathan barely noticed Evelyn existed, though his cameras saw everything. Their teenage son, Parker, occasionally tossed comment about help that stung more than his mother's fake smiles. Malik always came after school, waiting by the gate, reading while his mom finished work. Evelyn told him to stay quiet, stay respectful, stay small, because that was how black kids survive around people like the Langstons. But the truth was, Malik didn't belong small. And on that sunny afternoon, as laughter echoed to the marble halls, Evelyn's worst fear came true. Her son's quiet brilliance was about to collide with her arrogance. Victoria's smirk carried through the air as she stepped outside and waved Malik in. Evelyn's heart raced. She wanted to stop it, but she couldn't. She was their employee. When Malik entered, clutching his old, worn chessboard, the room went silent. He stood small but unflinching, eyes scanning the board Jonathan had already set up, an ornate marble set worth more than their monthly rent. The millionaire smiled thinly. "Let's see what the young man can do," he said, as if watching a street trick. And that was how it began, the game that no one in that mansion would ever forget. The first few moves were met with smug smiles. Jonathan leaned back in his chair, swirling his wine glass, assuming the match would last a few minutes. The guests gathered, whispering, half amused, half intrigued. Malik sat straight, silent, focused. His fingers moved carefully, eyes darting between the pieces, and Jonathan's posture, reading both the game and the man. 5 moves in, Jonathan frowned. 10 moves in, he leaned forward. By the 15th move, the laughter in the room had quieted. Evelyn stood frozen near the doorway, every nerve in her body tense. She wasn't sure whether to be proud or terrified. Victoria tried to keep the energy light, tossing sarcastic remarks. "Oh, Jonathan, don't go easy on him." But even she could feel the shift. Malik wasn't playing like a child. He was playing like a machine, precise, patient, devastating. Then Jonathan blundered. A knight lost, then a bishop. He tried to recover, but every move he made only tightened Malik's trap. The boy wasn't just beating him. He was dismantling his strategy, exposing his overconfidence. The silence deepened. Guests leaned in, watching in disbelief. One man muttered, "Wait, that's Maid in 3." And it was. Malik moved his queen forward. Checkmate. No one clapped. No one breathed. Jonathan sat there, stunned, his pride cracked in half like one of his shattered marble pieces. His wife's face flushed red with embarrassment. Evelyn wanted to run, but Malik simply looked up, calm and polite. "Thank you for the game, sir." Then he stood, packed his old chessboard, and walked out, leaving a room full of millionaires staring at the empty chair, like it had humiliated them all. But the night wasn't over, because what began as a cruel joke would soon expose a deeper ugliness, an opportunity Malik never expected. Jonathan couldn't sleep that night. He replayed the match again and again. A boy, a Maid son, had beaten him so cleanly that even his tech giant ego couldn't rationalize it away. By morning, he ordered his assistant to find out everything about Malik Harris. Within days, the truth unraveled. Malik was not just gifted, he was extraordinary. His name appeared in online forums for young prodigies, solving grandmaster-level problems. His school records were spotless. Teachers described him as a once-in-a-generation intellect. Jonathan's embarrassment twisted into obsession. He reached out to a colleague, a Stanford professor, who confirmed Malik's abilities after reviewing his online play. Suddenly, the millionaire who once mocked the Maid's son was trying to recruit him, to sponsor, mentor, control him. But his motives weren't pure. They were fueled by ego and guilt, not compassion. Evelyn was skeptical. She didn't trust people who remembered her name only after her son made headlines. But Malik saw an opportunity, scholarships, tournaments, a path out of invisibility. Then came the televised charity event. Jonathan invited Malik to compete in a celebrity chess tournament for underprivileged youth, using his name for publicity. Cameras flashed, articles were written. Local Maid son defeats tech billionaire, but the Langstons twisted it, painting themselves as mentors of diversity. The story went viral, but Malik didn't play along quietly. During the final match, against a famous grandmaster, he won again. And in his post-game interview, when asked who inspired him most, he didn't mention the Langstons. He looked straight into the camera and said, "My mom, she cleaned the homes of people who thought we were less. But she taught me that every move matters. Even pawns have become kings." The audience erupted. Social media exploded. The Langston smug narrative crumbled in real time. Jonathan's face on live TV said it all. A man defeated not by strategy, but by truth. The aftermath rippled far beyond the mansion. Sponsors reached out. Universities offered Malik full scholarships. The national media called him the chess prodigy who checkmated racism. For the first time, Evelyn didn't walk to work with her head bowed. She quit the Langston's job the very next morning, calmly handing Victoria her resignation, while reporters waited outside. Victoria tried to offer her hush money, calling it a bonus for the family's contribution. Evelyn simply smiled and said, "We don't need charity. My son earned his place on his own." In the weeks that followed, Malik traveled to tournaments around the country, inspiring countless kids who'd been told they were less than. News anchors replayed his speech. Teachers showed it in classrooms, and even chess organizations raised funds for underprivileged youth. As for the Langstons, their brand took a quiet hit. Behind the smiles, investors pulled back, questioning the family's values. They never mentioned Malik again. Years later, Malik stood in front of a global audience, receiving his first international title. Cameras flashed, and in that moment, he wasn't just a boy from the Maid's quarters anymore. He was a symbol, a reminder that brilliance is no color, and that sometimes the cruelest jokes backfire hardest. Evelyn watched from the front row, tears shining as her son raised his trophy. He turned toward her and mouthed a single word, Mom. For her, that was the real victory, because in a world that tried to make them small, they had played every move with grace, and in the end, checkmated hate itself.